All right, folks, you should have your Springboard open to page 89. We're starting a brand new unit called the Challenge of Utopia. So before we get to all the unpacking, we're going to start gathering some ideas here that will go over what this unit's going to encompass and eventually what your work is going to be for your embedded assessment. So first off, I'm going to have you take a look at those two images at the top of page 89. We've got two different globes per se. So the left-hand globe, it's more of a nature scene where we've got trees and birds, and the right-hand globe is more of an urban setting. We're looking at a city, we're looking at a skyline. All right, could you please read for us, Ashley, the visual prompt that's right below those two images?
A perfect society may mean different things to different people. What type of society does each image represent? What does it say about what is important to the people who prefer one over the other?
Okay, what do you think people really value if they live in a community that looks like the image to the left? So the very natural image. What do you think those individuals would value, those citizens? What are you thinking, Christian? Life? What specifically about life would they value?
It's like to be cherished and you should protect it.
Okay, cherish life, protect life, not only of human life, but of... Okay, also protect nature's life, birds, the plants, and animals. What else are you thinking, Jordan? Okay, these individuals may value peace. All right, what about a citizen that lives in the globe to the right, in the city landscape? What do you think that individual might value? Yeah, Joshua? Money. They're going to value money. Anything else? Chris? Work. Anything else, Ashley? Maybe they value noise. They like having that. Yeah. Power. Ooh, the idea of power. I like that. Mm-hmm. Okay, they might value technology, things that are new age. All right, now right below that visual prompt, you folks are going to have the unit overview. And what I'm going to ask you folks to do while you're looking at the unit overview with me, I want you to go ahead and highlight 2 to 3 main ideas that you see in the unit overview. Just for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and read the overview to you folks. Again, please remember to underline or highlight 2 to 3 ideas that you see in this piece. All right, so unit overview for the Challenge of Utopia. We probably all agree that we would like to live in an ideal society where everyone is free and happy. But what does that actually mean? And why do definitions of the ideal society differ so greatly? Some would argue that an ideal life is a life without conflict or problems, but what is a perfect life? In this unit, you will read, write, and engage in various types of collaborative discussions to explore these universal questions. Then, you will move from discussion and exposition into debate and effective argumentation as you research and develop a claim about a contemporary issue. All right, once you've done or finished highlighting 2 to 3 key ideas, go ahead and turn to page 90. Something that I do want you to notice, just with the table of contents, for the first half of this unit, you only have 9 activities and you go straight into that first EA. So this is going to be a very quick turnaround. Within 2 weeks' time, you folks are going to be working on your next assessment. So that's a very quick turnover from what we've done in the past. All right, what I do want you to do in the upper left-hand corner, that light blue goals box, if you watch the screen, there's going to be some markings that I'm going to ask you to make. So what we're going to do is we're going to separate these goals based on which half of the unit they're going to be covering. So first off, I want you to draw a line after the third goal. And I'm going to have you bracket the top 3 goals together and the bottom 2 goals together. The top 3 goals are specific for the first half of Unit 2. So these are the goals that you should be able to accomplish prior to tackling the first assessment. And the last two goals are specifically for the second half of the unit. So by the time that you're ready to make your second assessment for this unit, those two goals you'll have grasped. All right, what I'm going to have you do, I'm going to ask 5 people to read those 5 goals aloud. And what I want you to do is either highlight or underline what do you think is the key idea behind each goal. Okay? So Elijah, could you read the first goal for us?
To analyze the novel for archetypal.
All right, go ahead and highlight or underline. And what's the novel that we'll be analyzing for this unit? Yeah, please. Right, Fahrenheit 451. So you're going to be looking at the archetype and theme of that novel. All right, Logan, could you read the second goal for us?
Okay. To analyze and evaluate a variety of expository and argument data text for ideas structure.
Okay, go ahead, highlight or underline. The first half of the unit is very expository text driven, so you're going to be looking at a lot of pieces that are explaining a concept or an idea to you. And Maggie, could you read that third goal for us?
The novel is created and explanatory text easy to compare and contrast organizational structure.
Thanks. Go ahead, highlight or underline. So you'll be developing an expository piece. And your expository piece is going to be using a compare and contrast structure to it. All right, Grant, could you read the fourth goal for us?
To understand the use of active voice and passive voice.
All right, go ahead, highlight or underline. And Elise, that fifth goal.
Develop effective arguments using logical reasoning, relevant evidence, and statistics to build more factors.
All right, go ahead, highlight or underline. So the second half of the unit, you folks will be stepping away from expository text, and you'll be arguing a point. And one of the things that you'll be focusing in on is the type of active or passive voice that you use in your writing. All right, next is the academic vocab. It falls right below the goals. We're going to do that same breaking apart which vocab corresponds to which half of the unit. So I want you to draw a line underneath universal. And just like we did before, we're going to bracket in the top 4 vocab words. We'll bracket the bottom vocabulary words. And we're just marking which vocabulary words are going to be active for which half of the unit. Now, those words should look familiar to you. Last time we were in the computer lab, you were to copy down these words and their definitions. And this week, I'm going to be checking to see if you do, in fact, have them in your notebook. All right, once you read those markings, go ahead and turn to page 92. And we've got ourselves a brand new activity, so where do we start? Learning targets. Go ahead and just use those 2 learning targets so we can figure out the purpose of the activity. All right, so the 2 major reasons behind this activity is one for you to have previewed the unit, understand what the Challenge of Utopia is about, which we've done. And the second big reason behind it, we need to understand what the heck is our next assessment all about. All right, now right below that, we have this making connections subtext. So Jaden, know why? Could you read the making connections for us?
In the last unit, you studied what it is to be a hero and how heroes test themselves to find their own heroic quality. In this unit, you will read a novel that features a hero who must struggle to combat forces greater than himself in his quest for an individual sense of freedom and identity.
Okay, now the second sentence of that making connections really is kind of spearheading your awareness of what you need to pull from reading Fahrenheit 451. So I want you to reread that second sentence to yourself. Okay, now with that, what are we going to be analyzing specifically about the hero of Fahrenheit 451? What are we going to be looking for? Yeah, Chloe?
Oh, he studied forces greater than himself to find his great individual.
Okay, how is he going to battle the outside world so that he can be an individual, so he knows who he really is? Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at those two EQs. And these are the questions that really fuel what your entire unit is about. Okay, the first question is going to be over the first half of Unit 2. The second question is really talking about the second half. I want you to take about a minute and a half, and I want you to answer those essential questions as best as you can. Go ahead. So that first question, it's really hinting or asking you whether you believe a perfect society can exist. How many of you think it is possible for a perfect society to exist? Okay, and how many of you say that's not possible? It'll never happen. I'm kind of the same wavelength as you folks. I don't think it can happen. Personally, I think the word perfect has a different definition for every single person. Everybody has a different idea of what perfect is because everyone has their own ideas. So I don't think it's possible. Now, the second question, we're going to answer a little bit differently, okay, in terms of what makes an argument effective. Last week, before you folks left on your huge break, you read that short story, The Black Cat. What was the main idea of the story, The Black Cat? What happened there? Seeing people willing to help. Jackie, get us started. What was The Black Cat about?
A black cat saw a man and his wife. He did not prefer to have children, but instead animals, and they adopted them. For the man found the black cat which he enjoyed the most, but he had issues.
I like how you said that. He had issues. So what kind of issues did this man have specifically? Now I have people willing to answer. Get us started, Donovan. Oh, he was possibly insane. All right, sir.
He was an alcoholic.
He was an alcoholic.
So the thing was he kept on killing his animals.
Yeah, he had this tick where he just kept killing things, and that was a bit of a problem. So what did you folks believe? How many of you said he was totally insane? Okay, did anybody think that he was really just troubled? Okay, a couple of people said that he was troubled. Now, what was your argument? How many of you, I shouldn't say how many, what did you folks say in regards to the man being insane? What was your argument there? What were you hinting at, Gene?
He killed his wife and didn't feel bad.
Okay, he kills his wife, he does not feel bad. What was another argument you brought up, Logan?
He took out his cat's eye.
He took out his cat's eye. Another argument, Jordan.
He tries to explain it, but it's unreasonable.
Okay, he tries to explain his actions, but the explanation itself doesn't make any sense. One more?
He went on like a killing spree based off of like simple things like cat scratching him.
Okay, he got triggered to commit murder based on the simplest action of someone else. So what you folks were doing was you were providing an argument. You believed that this man was insane. Now, in order to make your argument effective, you didn't just say, because I say he's insane. You started providing the evidence from the story. Then you explained that evidence. So the idea of what makes an argument effective, you need to make sure, number one, you're providing me rationale. Number two, you're providing me evidence to prove your point. That's what's going to make the argument effective. All right, now all the way at the bottom of page 92, you folks are going to see a subheading that's talking about unpacking the assessment. So what I want you to do is actually take this chunk of text, box it in with your pen, pencil, highlighter. Just make it stand out. And this particular section is where we're going to find the actual assignment for us to write on our now purple bookmark. We changed colors. So like we've done in the past, we're going to go one sentence at a time, see if we can't pull out what specifics are we being told to actually make. So Elijah, could you read the first sentence in the assignment? It starts with think about. Excellent. Did it tell us to make anything there? I'm seeing just a lot of head shaking. It really didn't. It hasn't done a whole lot for us yet. Nicholas, could you read the second sentence?
Write an essay that.
Wait, not the bullet point.
What do you
Use an expository.
use an expository structure to understand the concept of dystopia and watch for concept of the world change.
Is it telling us to make something? It kind of is. It's kind of hinting that we're going to be utilizing something. And the last comment before the bullet points come up is select a prompt. So that's what it's telling us, okay, now you need to get going. So what I'm going to ask you to do is go ahead and make these markings for me. Okay? This is the bulk of your actual assignment. You're going to be using an expository structure to either speak in regards to dystopia or the hero's journey. Now, the bullet points below that, that's the actual prompt. So you folks are going to pick one of the two prompts to actually write about. Again, they're both based on what has been highlighted in blue at the screen. So now let's go ahead and read each bullet point, and we'll break each bullet point down into its specifics. So, Alicia, could you read the first possible prompt for us?
Write an essay that compares and contrasts life in dystopian society with modern day.
Okay, I'm sure you folks could break that apart. You could highlight which pieces are the verbs, the nouns, the specifics. So that's one possible expository essay that you might want to write. So you're speaking in regards to how a dystopian society works versus modern day. So the community of Las Vegas, the nation of the United States. All right, and could you read the second bullet point for us, please, Santiago?
Write an essay that explains how the protagonist changes as a result of conflict with dystopian society, and explain how the change extends to the novel stage.
Perfect. All right, now this one has a lot of info in there, so you can just follow the markings that have popped up right here. The second possible prompt that some people shoot for if they really understand the hero's journey is this one. It's where you speak in regards to how the protagonist changed through his journey and how his change was a reflection of the entire theme of the story. So those of you that are really strong with the hero's journey archetype in last unit, this might be the prompt that you go with. Okay, now that we've taken a look at the entire piece, I want you to go ahead and paraphrase the assignment on your purple bookmark. So it's the front side, upper left-hand corner is where you'll find the assignment box. Go ahead and in your own words, I'm going to have you worry about just what we highlighted in blue, not one of the specific prompts yet. I want you to just go ahead and write in your assignment box what we highlighted in blue. And I think the majority of you are probably just about wrapping up the assignment itself. So our next page where you're going to go to will be 128 in your springboard. And I've got the page number popping up on the screen now. 128 is where you're going to find your scoring guide for this essay that you're going to be creating. So on page 128, I'm going to ask you to do what we've done in the past. I want you to go ahead and highlight, box in that exemplary column, just make it stand out. We're always shooting for an A. And once you've gone ahead and highlighted that box, I want you to go ahead and number the bullet points on page 128. So the first bullet point in ideas is 1, the second bullet point in ideas is 2. Keep going down. We're going to see that there's 10 concepts that your essay will be graded on. Once you've numbered the bullet points on your purple bookmark, go ahead and number the rows. That way it just makes things a little bit easier for you to track. So you'll have 10 bullet points on page 128, 10 rows in your purple bookmark. And the last thing I'll have you do, in the assess column, all the way to the left-hand side, just like we've done before, we're going to go ahead and label those shaded columns within the assessment column. So the far left will be all red, meaning that concept you've never heard before. The middle will be yellow, meaning it's a concept you really need to practice before you take the assessment. Or the column all the way far right, G, green, meaning give it to me, I'll take a test and ace it right this minute. So just as we've done in the past, this time I'm not going to do the quick review because most of you know how to break it down. I want you to go ahead and go through each one of the concepts, the 10 items that your essay will be graded upon, break it down, unpack it, so you know exactly how to give an A with each one of those concepts, okay? Once you're done with that, the last thing that you do, all the way in the far left column, the assessment column, you track each one of those concepts, your comfort level as of today's date. So in these 3 mini columns, you'll write down today's date, 11/4, instead of a check mark or an X to indicate what's your comfort level with that concept. You don't have to do this alone. If you want to partner up with someone or your entire family table is together, you can. I'm going to give you about, let's say, 8-9 minutes to look through unpacking this piece and completing the self-assessment. All right, go ahead.